could getting a vaccine jab soon be as simple as taking a pill, no jab at all? Nadav Kidron hopes so. He's the CEO of Oramed Pharmaceuticals, which has developed an oral COVID vaccine that's set to soon enter the trial phase. So he joins us now. It's great to have you. How is this oral version different than the vaccines that we have now in shot form?
Okay, thank you, Joe. So the oral version is different in two ways. One, which is the obvious one, that you take it orally, and I can explain what are the obvious and the non-obvious advantages of the oral vaccine. But the second thing is that this vaccine is made out of 3 proteins, and therefore it should be giving us a better protection against the variants.
So we know, too, that there is this mRNA technology that's used in at least a couple of these vaccine shots. Is that what you use in the oral version?
No, so we are actually using a VLP technology. So what we're doing, at the end of the day, all of the vaccines work on the same principle. We want to get something small in there to teach the body how to make the antibodies and to be able to protect the body from the attack of the viruses. What we're doing differently is that we are making 3 layers versus 1. So even if the virus can get through 1 level of shield, there's a second level of shield, and even if it goes through that, there's a third one. So at the end of the day, what we're seeing now, the Delta, Epsilon, and the next variants that inevitably are going to reach us, this vaccine that we have is giving us a much higher level of protection against those variants.
So tell us about the trial. How many people are involved, and when does it start, and how long will it take?
Okay, so we took an oral vaccine, and the obvious advantage with the oral vaccine is, number one, a study that was done in the United States, 19 million people said that they would take an oral and they're not going to take an injection. The reason is that you can have less side effects, which according to the CDC, about 9.4% of the people who get the vaccine, they get some side effects, and you're not going to have that on the oral. You don't need a professional to administer it. Everyone can just take it as a pill with a glass of water, and you're done. You don't have the waste, all the syringes and the plastic and all of that. And it doesn't have to be at a freezer temperature.
Right.
So all of those advantages make it something which is very appealing. We've tried it in vivo, we tried it in animals, which was very successful, and we are now going into the clinical trials.
It also makes it very attractive in the global effort, hard to reach countries or countries where they really haven't had access to the vaccine. That's where you're focusing, correct?
Absolutely. Think about Africa. To get something moved from one place to another in Africa, it's 5 times more expensive than in the developing countries.
So can people who have already taken the vaccine use this oral as a booster, presuming you get to the point where these trials have been approved?
So we're now working on 2 parallel tracks as far as the Oramed's oral vaccine. On the one track, and this is our first goal, is to get to most of the world, which is striving to get vaccines. They don't have vaccines at all. And a lot of them are only going to take it if it's going to be oral. We, and it was beautifully said before, we as humans, we have to stand united and to make sure we can overcome this pandemic.
Right.
So our first goal is to reach those who are deprived and not yet have gotten the vaccines. Along with that, and parallel to that, we're also going to go into the developing countries such as the US and to offer it as a booster, because we know that someone who got the 2 shots, they'll be much more inclined to take a pill than to take the third booster.
We're up against the clock, Nadav. Quickly, how long do you think before it's ready?
Well, we're ready. We're going to start hopefully in the next few weeks to start the clinical trials, and we hope to get an emergency use approval in some of these developing countries as soon as we can get it, because the world, as you say, not waiting for us, and the clock is not stopping. So we have to do our best to make this a success.
All right, Nadav Kidron, CEO of Oramed Pharmaceuticals. Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thank you, Joe.